Friday again, so it's time for another, whatever this is, video blog. So, down here in my basement today, because I wanted to show you guys something, and it's these. It's my collection of whatever all these things are, these minifigs and so forth, the bulk of which are the Marvel 500 and the Tsum-Tsums and stuff. Basically, I have an addiction, and that these things come in a blind bag. Basically, you cut it open, and just inside, you don't know what you're going to get. Sometimes it's the same thing that you've already got, a different color palette, paint scheme, whatever. Sometimes it's something totally new. And there's just excitement that kind of burgeons up, like, ooh, what am I going to get? It's kind of the Christmas experience, except I get it every time I go to any store because I don't have any self-restraint. And anyway, the reason I want to show all this, besides having some purpose for these things aside from warming the shelf, is that I think in a lot of ways, with us kind of bulldozing our way through to the end of the year and into January, I think that this is the relationship most of us have had with our faith up until this point in our lives. Because there's two reasons for it. The first is that we don't study our Bibles on a regular basis. We don't really discipline ourselves in increasing our knowledge and our IQ, our competence in the things of the faith, so that when it comes to time where someone's going to ask us a hard question about the faith, if they're an atheist and they're hostile, or if they're just questioning and they just don't know, or they want to learn more, we don't have answers for them, because the fact that we just occasionally will open our YouVersion app or our Bible and just point at a random verse or read it. Or if you have YouVersion already installed on your phone or your iPad, you get those verse of the day notifications, or you follow Caleb on social media so you see their verse of the day or whatever, and you see that and you're like, oh, that's nice. Or you hear them on the radio, or you hear some store that's playing KAMB or whatever radio station is local that plays Christian music around you, Air One. And it kind of warms your heart for a second, but then it's just immediately gone. You go back to cussing people out on the turnpike as you're running late to work immediately after that. So you're not really getting the full experience of what your faith is supposed to be, because it's just up on the shelf. And so now that January is coming up, you kind of feel guilty about that, the way it is, and you kind of see that in your kids, or in your spouse, or in your girlfriend, or your classmates, or the people you go to youth group with, and you see that, and so you're like as a mirror reflecting it back to you, and you're like, you know what, I need to get this on track. So you make a resolution New Year's Eve night or January 1st of, I'm going to start reading my Bible every day. And so that's when you start, treating it like that blind bag. You're just opening it. You don't know what's going to be inside. And so sometimes it's a kind of a vinyl dinosaur sort of thing with a tail that moves, maybe, and then occasionally it's like, but you don't know how to apply it or anything. So even if you do pull out something and it's really good and it's exactly what you needed for that day, you don't know how to apply those things, because you're still not, you're not reading John MacArthur or anything. And so still, it just goes onto the shelf. You never really think about it again. And so that lasts a week. No, it lasts, you'll get 3 days, you'll miss Thursday, and then you'll try to do twice as much on Friday. You'll miss both of them because your workload is excessive. It's way more because you have to make up for the time that you lost during the holiday season, and you just get further and further behind until you just abandon it entirely in February, and then comes around to October when you finally remember that you even made the resolution altogether, and you just like, you know what, this year, this January, I'm going to take it seriously this time. On the other hand, I think in a lot of ways this is our relationship to God, because we think that this is not our faith as much as that this is us. It's just in the same way that I have these little plastic figurines that I've spent money on, I've invested in, and then they're designed to do something, and they're designed to be played with, to bring people joy and happiness, that they're supposed to be used, but even though I did invest in them, even though I paid a price for them, I've just set them up on a shelf because I have better things to do with my life than play with little toys, like going to work, doing important things. And that this is us, that we're just, Christ did come, he did die, he did sacrifice himself for our salvation, and that he does desire good things for us. Like, obviously, they're not covered in dust. They're not, occasionally I'll come down here when it's laundry day and I'll see them, and I might kind of mess with them a little bit, kind of figure out the best way to put them onto the shelf so that they can kind of show themselves off a little bit better. But in the largest part, 99.9% of the time that they exist now, it's just them looking pretty up there. And that ministry, it's for the professionals. Those guys, they went to school, they know what they're doing. The youth pastors and the pastors and the worship leaders and all those, like, they have skills on the guitar, and they got it all together. Their kids don't randomly fight each other in the back seat of our car. Their wife doesn't seethe in silent rage when they come from work or whatever. Like they're not like us normal people, so they can handle the ministry, and then I'm just up here on the shelf, and I'm just here so that the pastor has someone to preach to on Sunday. And that is not Christianity. God did not create you, and then he did not save you, did not send his son to die on the cross for you to just be up on the shelf. He made you for a purpose, and that is to reach lost people. And even if you're just a normal person, an average person, that's fine. That's perfectly good, because of the fact that the whole world is nothing but average people. They're all normal. They all have kids that sass them and don't want to eat their vegetables. They all have relationship issues. They all have challenges dealing with parents who have cancer and job losses, especially right now, where most people that were hired on over the last couple of weeks, it was seasonal. And so they're being laid off either this week or next week, or maybe like the first couple weeks of January, and then they don't know what's going to happen, and they're looking for hope and peace. And guess what? You have hope and you have peace. You have the Prince of Peace in your life, and he wants you to give that to these people as a missionary to them. It doesn't require any special qualifications. It doesn't take any kind of special whatever. Like, God made you for that already. He's giving you specific personality tics and quirks and a specific life stage positioning so that you can reach them in a specific way. So that you don't have to be this up here on the shelf just being ignored by most people. You could be down off the shelf in the toy box, being used in incredible ways just day to day. Look for those opportunities. Because the longer you spend pretending like this is the entirety of your existence, the more and more of your life will be not only wasted on terrible plastic figurines that you buy at the grocery checkout line, but you'll also be incredible. You're going to spend more time depressed, more time in anxiety, more time with doubts and fears and everything just plaguing you because of the fact that you know that there's something out there that you were made to do and you're not doing it. So, hear me when I say that. I mean, get out there and do it. And so, I don't know if that made sense. I don't know if that's a good metaphor, whatever. If that helped anybody, if that encouraged you, great. If not, join the conversation, and I'll be happy to clarify or explain more. And I don't know, share and subscribe.